Hi, everyone. This is Shelly with Life Creates Art. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to be teaching you today about mandalas. And it's been something that I've wanted to do for so long, really ever since I started Life Creates Art 1 year ago. And it's just been really close to my heart. I am a certified therapeutic art life coach. And so this is something I learned a long time ago. And again, this is very close to my heart. So let's get started. We are going to be talking about 5 points about mandalas. I'm going to not only teach you about mandalas, but teach you how mandalas can benefit you and your life. And we are going to, well, let me just talk to you about the 5 points we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about their meaning. We're going to be talking about what they can do for you, options on how to use mandalas. We're going to draw because there's 2 ways you can actually draw a mandala. So, and then we're going to talk about patterns and different ideas. Again, going back to how you can use a mandala. So those are the 5 ways that we are going to be talking about mandalas, really just covering everything. I know a lot of YouTubers, they sit there with beautiful music behind them and they draw these artful mandalas, and that's so beautiful and so peaceful. And then there are others that teach on mandalas. I'm going to sort of encompass this. So we have a lot to cover and we have so much to do, and I want to be mindful of your time so you can learn as much as you can. So let's get started. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to dig into. Let's go right now. Okay, so number 1, what is a mandala? So it is from the Sanskrit language, which is an old Indo-Aryan language, and it actually means circle. So we talked last week about balance. We're talking about a circle with a center. So we're talking about balance again. So it means a circle, and it's originated from the Hindu and Buddhist symbolism, and it actually represents the universe, sacred space, life that never ends, a spiritual journey, and also a spiritual journey within the individual that is not only, viewing this, but the person that is working on it and working with the mandala. So your spiritual journey as you're working with your mandala is what is being created here. And that sacred space, that universe, that life that never ends. And that's what it represents. So that circle, that unity that never ends, that life that never ends. And so, of course, then we have the like the other YouTubers where you listen to that calming music, and we have that beautiful art piece that they create as they sit there and detail out those mandalas. We have these gorgeous art pieces of the people that do it on the walls and things like that. Mandalas can be used as art pieces. Now, my style of art is, I'm not a mandala artist. I am the type that likes to really free flow with my art. Now, you see, I did this mandala. It's not perfect. However, I do enjoy it simply because I enjoy the more spiritual aspect of it and the more relaxation that mandalas bring to me. And that's kind of what I'd like to teach you, the entire aspect of mandalas. So you can use it for both, because this is Life Creates Art. So I want to indulge you in not only the artistic aspect, but also the spiritual aspect to what it can do for you. So, of course, we can use it as art pieces, and you can watch the other beautiful, beautiful YouTubers that do that for their art. There are 3 types of mandalas. There is teaching, healing, and sand. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about those. However, because we will be dealing with the teaching and the healing mandalas, we will talk a little bit more about them. So, teaching mandalas. I'm going to read this because, again, I'm being sensitive of your time. I want to read their meanings. They're symbolic. The teaching mandalas are symbolic, and they represent a different aspect of philosophical or a religious system. They create a visual symbolization of everything you have learned. They're sort of like mental maps. And we're going to get into that a little bit more in just a little bit. That's a teaching mandala. So we can teach you and show you where you've been, where you're going, and what you've learned. And then we move on to healing mandalas, made for the purpose of meditation. It's intended to deliver wisdom, evoke calm, and channel your focus and your concentration. So those are the ones that where you just do that detail and you do that repetitive motion of that detail and you bring it all the way out to the edge and you're just sitting there focused and you channel that concentration, the healing mandalas. So then there's the sand mandalas, like I said, which we won't be touching on today, but I will read to you. It's used by the Buddhist, mostly by the Buddhist and Navajo cultures as more traditional and religious statements. So that's a brief description of what their meanings are. Now let's move on to number 2, what they can do for you. So if you recall, we talked about healing mandalas, made for the purpose of meditation, intended to deliver wisdom, evoke calm, and channel focus and concentration. So what can they do for you? Healing mandalas can allow your mind to focus, so irritating thoughts can't get through. It allows your mind to reach a state of relaxation and take a break. And so your creative mind can run free, and that repetitive pattern can almost create a hypnotic state. As you're creating these patterns, you can allow your mind to wander, and all your focus should be on relaxation and creating that mandala, clarity, relaxation, and so that your mind can take a break. And so now we move on to what I want to really focus on. So the teaching mandala, the healing mandala is just the part where the patterns are happening. So we have these really detailed patterns, and you bring that all the way out to the edge, and you're sitting there and you're just focusing on the details, and you're focusing on just creating these patterns. Now, a lot of people might get stuck on the patterns and what do I do next and what do I do next? But for me, it's really about sort of understanding what you can do within the context of the patterns, but just relaxing and knowing and releasing that and knowing that it's okay. Now, if you're doing it for the sake of art, you'll want to learn those patterns and know what you can do. But for me, mandalas are so much more than that, because they are spiritual tools for us to learn and relax. And that's what they were created for. They were created for us to take a break and relax and to cause a calm in our hearts and in our lives. So when I do mandalas, I try not to concentrate so much on perfection. And that's why my mandalas aren't always perfect. They're not always even. And I have to sort of let that go and be okay with that. Just like in life, not everybody's perfect. You can't expect your life to always be perfect. And that's okay. You have to sort of let that go and free your life of perfection. But let's move on, because what I want to do is show you that you can sort of combine the teaching and the healing, which I have done here. And I'm going to ask my amazing husband to show you a picture of what I have here, since you can't really see it. So let's review the teaching mandala, which is symbolic and represents an aspect of philosophical, religious systems. It creates a symbolization of everything you have learned, and it can be a mental map. So it tells the story of where you have been. It can be your journey, your path, your growth. As you commit to a teaching mandala, it can reveal things to you, as well as about forgiveness, about healing, your past, your future, your path. And you can use colors that are yours, colors that remind you and speak to you. You know, pink really speaks to me in my life. The purples really speak to me. The tones of aqua, they really speak to me. Colors that bring healing to you. They're healing colors for you. So you can add those to your mandala. So that brings me now. So we have now talked about what they can do for you, and how you can, the options that you can use them is number 3, right? Number 3, the options that you can use them are, here we go. You can either just do them for art, or you can combine them. You can do just this. You can do your past. You can write your past, your future, your present, your growth. You can do drawings within this. You can do quotes. You can do affirmations. You can do statements of truth. You can add anything you want here. And within that, you can create something. So you can start something that's very calming, and then you can create something for yourself that you can even put up on the wall and remind yourself of where you're going. So now, I know you guys have been waiting for this. We are going to now draw. So we're moving on to number 4. We're now drawing mandalas, and we're going to show you I'm going to show you 2 ways to draw a mandala. Let's get started. Okay, so let's talk first about some tools you'll need. And we'll run through this quickly because, you know, it's a little bit obvious, some of these, but you'll need some paper. Duh. But it depends on what you want to do with it. So I use this thinner paper, just sort of my sketching paper, everything paper. If I know that I'm just going to use my pens on them, but if I'm going to do watercolor on my mandalas or anything, I grab my mixed media, and this is 110 pounds. I love it. It's Bachmore. We'll put it down below if you want to purchase this. But it's really wonderful. It's nice and thick, and you can use it for anything. But paper, obviously, a pencil to get your mandala started. And you are going to need a ruler. A ruler for sure. You're going to need a ruler for sure. And colored pencils if you want to use Any colors would be wonderful to have. I couldn't find my box of crayons. But if you want to use crayons, you can use crayons. I mean, lots of people love using crayons. You can also use some pens. I love these my Arteza real brush pens. You can even add some water to these when it's on the paper and kind of get a watercolor effect. These are amazing, and again, you can use these as kind of marker pens or watercolor. I love them, and again, I will put them down below, and if you want to try these out, these are kind of my favorite pens of all, and they have tons of colors, 48 of them, but love using those. But markers and or just some pens. Now, I like to have a couple of different options, and I'll have my husband show these, but I have a really fine tip one, and one that it has an option. Let me see if I can grab a piece of paper here. Well, I think it's in the picture. So an option, so it can go either thicker or fine tip, and then a fine tip pen. So these are just things that you can have, but you also need and you don't need. If you are going to do this for art, then it's a good idea to have a compass and then a protractor. So I'm going to show you both ways to use just a ruler and with a compass and a protractor. Also, I will put these amazing watercolors. So the Bachmore watercolor, it comes in a tin. I'm trying to open it. And I just use these a few times, and you can see that it barely looks like I've touched them. But I have used these. They're amazing. They are just the most amazing watercolors I have used. And I don't watercolor much, but I used to use the kitty ones, but it's wonderful to give your mandala just kind of a wash of the colors that you love. So let's move on. Now, here we go. We're going to draw one with just a ruler. So if you're just at home and you just want to do a mandala and you just have a ruler and a pencil and some paper, here's how to do it. All right, so we are going to draw a mandala using just a ruler. Now, normally you would use a pencil, but for the sake of being able to see it on the video, I am going to use a very thin pen. Now, normally you wouldn't do this, like I said, but I'm going to do it because I want you to be able to see. So you would generally measure the center of your page. I have done this for the purpose of the sake of time. And so here is the center of my page, or you can just eye it, whatever you want to do. Here's the center of my page. And from the center, I am going to, again, just do a crisscross line. I'm going to do it down. I'm going to do it across. And what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to measure. So I want my circles to be about a ½ inch, maybe a quarter of an inch. Maybe my first one I want to be about a quarter of an inch. So I'm going to do a quarter of an inch dot here on my line. Quarter of an inch here, and a quarter of an inch here. Let me see if I can see this. My ruler is metal, so it's really difficult for me to see. So maybe that's a little better for me to see. There we go. I'm blind as a bat too. There we go. Now I can see it a little better. There we are. So far we have just these 4 lines. Now let's get our lines set for crisscross too, and then we'll add more. So let's crisscross here too. And again, you're just doing this. Be sure you hit your center line. We're just doing this with a ruler. If you were wanting to do this for art and for beauty, you would want to get a compass and a protractor. So let's add some more things that we're going to be doing. Connect the dots. So from this first dot, we are going to do, let's say, 1/2 inch. So I'm going to add 1/2 inch. Oh, I did a 1/4 inch. So let's do 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. And we're going to want to do that on each one. So here I'm going to do 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. All right, now, so we have this all set up, and now it's just a matter of basically connecting the dots. And again, this is something that you would do with a pencil, just because you sometimes would want to erase these circles and use your pen. But for the sake of showing you, it's just a matter of connecting these dots and making your circles all the way around. And this is a really easy way just to make your skeleton for your mandala. And go all the way around. I think I didn't make enough circles for some of my, but you get the idea. And then you can begin to build your mandala within this. All right. All right. So there you go. That's the easiest way and the first way to build a mandala with just a pencil and a ruler. Next way. Again, we're going to have the center of our paper right here, and we are going to use a compass. Now, this is a little school compass. You can get much more expensive compass. I spent $13 on one, and I just really didn't think it was worth it. But my little one was working just fine. So make a nice big circle, around your dot in the center. Okay? Just make a circle around your dot. Now, find the equal line and put a line right through. Again, you'll want to use a pencil. However, I am going to use a pen just for the sake of you being able to see this a little more clearly. Now, we are going to use a protractor, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this line of the protractor is going to sit directly on this line. And we are going to mark, we're going to put it right in the center, and we're going to mark, let's say, I'm going to go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 180. All right. And you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do exactly the same thing. Put it in the center, exactly on the line. And you're going to do exactly the same thing on the opposite. I'm going to do 20, 40, 60, 80. Now you can do this smaller if you'd prefer. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. But let me show you what's going to happen here now that we take our ruler. So we're going to put our ruler across these, and we're creating these lines that will make our mandala. And then we will add more circles. So there we are. Then we come in again with our compass, and we make as many circles, small, large, as we want. That was pretty terrible. But again, give yourself a break here. You can do it. It's not, it doesn't have to be perfect, does it? Does it have to be perfect? But give yourself a break. So what I want to do now is, this is how you do it. And you just continue adding circles. Now you can go very, very small, and you can go right in there close to the dot, and then start adding your mandala patterns, which is actually what I want to talk to you about next, is the mandala patterns. So let's do that right now. Okay, so I hope you get the idea of how to do a mandala and draw it two ways. I hope you get the idea, because it is really fun to do mandalas. And I know that there are people out there who can do one much better than I can. And I really value and appreciate those people. I really do. Life Creates Art. Our channel is all about having fun with creativity. It's all about growing. It's really all about just enjoying creativity and kind of sometimes laughing at yourself and really stretching ourselves, making sure that we're always taking that next bold step. And sometimes you make mistakes, but this is all about life. And we do it together. And that's why sometimes on this channel, I allow myself to just show you how I'm not perfect. And I mess up sometimes, but we're in this together, and it's all about being creative and just continuing to push ourselves and continuing to grow. And mandalas are one of those things that, like I said, are very, very important to me, but it's not about the detailed art. If it is, here is the link to a really wonderful lady who does it just beautifully. And but I really want to encourage you to dig into the spiritual aspect of mandalas, allowing your mind to focus through those healing mandalas. I was doing a healing mandala just the other day, and I was so focused on it. And I was just, I say hypnotized by it, but I was just so focused on it, and everything was going on around me. There was a lot of chaos around me, but I was so focused on just doing these patterns in this mandala. My husband walked up next to me, and I didn't even realize he had walked up next to me. So when he tapped me on the shoulder, it scared me because I hadn't even realized he was there. So that's the kind of thing that mandalas can do. It can just pull you away from those things that are going on and just pull you into something that can bring you relaxation and let your mind take a break. But I want to encourage you to maybe start a healing mandala and then add something with drawings and quotes and affirmations and statements of truth that are true to you. Now, I'm going to put up some patterns so that you can get a nice, good screenshot of some of these patterns, of some really good ideas for mandalas. And I'm going to have Jason do it for a really long time. These are things and ideas that you can do, things that you can add. And then we are going to just finish out this video with me doing a mandala. And if you want to watch that, that's just fine. I'm not going to do a big long one because I've been working on mandalas for quite some time here, just in preparation for this. And my hands. I have arthritis in my hands just because of the fibromyalgia. And so I have to kind of ice my hand after I do mandalas. So there's a good and, drawback, but it's all works out to be so wonderful because of what it does for me spiritually. So I hope you have learned such great things from mandalas. Again, how to do them and what they mean. And don't forget that there's some great products down in the link. This wonderful watercolor kit. And the watercolor kit also comes with brushes. So the watercolor kit, there's also the pens and this Arteza set is in the links below. And I love you all. And I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed bringing it to you, and look forward to seeing you again next week. So it's all about that circle of unity, representing that universe and bringing that spiritual journey of the individual viewer. It's that sacred space for you is what mandalas mean. And don't forget to bring that sacred space for you. It's that individual journey for you. And I hope you find it. This is Shelly with Life Creates Art. And I love you and I adore you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.